Welcome back, folks, to Two Brits, One Puck. I'm your host, Mr. Intangibles, a complicated man, and a birthday boy, Dan Masters, with my good friend, the president of the Leon Draisaitl fan club, and a man who might be in the All-Star game if these injuries keep up. Will Everett Human. Will, how you doing?
Very well, thank you, Dan. Very well. Happy birthday for yesterday.
Thank you very much. 39 years young. I am old.
39's all right. That's not too old.
Yeah, I don't feel 39 in any way. The thought of being 40 next year just seems baffling, like not possible. I don't quite know how I got to this point.
Yeah, but even what's 40 anymore? 40 is nothing. You know what I mean?
It's true. You know what? I read an article a few years ago that people in their 30s are essentially living old people's 20s again. In that when you were 20 back in the day, you got a house, had a kid, settled down with your job for life, and that was it. Yeah. And now people in their 20s are saying, yeah, I don't want to do that. I'd rather kind of travel a bit or do something else. And now they're doing that in their 30s instead.
Yeah, now it just feels a bit like from 23 to 40 to 50, basically. It's all the same, isn't it? Where you get such variations of how people are doing life. You could have your first kid at 23, you could have your first kid at 42.
A guy I used to work with, and he had his first kid when he was 19. He had his second kid at 41.
Mate, that's weird.
It's not insane.
That's weird.
Isn't that insane?
I mean, fair enough, but that's weird.
Quick question this week.
Go on.
A tweet was sent out after Oliver Bjorkstrand scored in the last 30 seconds when Columbus were playing. Oh, God. I want to say the Devils. I could be wrong on that. But anyway. And then Nola Chari scored for Florida a few nights after. And another tweet was sent out saying that there have only been 3 go-ahead goals in the final 30 seconds of regulation this season in all games. And it begs the question, is this the problem with the loser point? And friend of the show, Micah McCurdy, mentioned it on Twitter. This is why the loser point is stupid. Because only 3 go-ahead goals in the final 30 seconds all season just doesn't seem very much.
No, it does seem suspiciously low, especially in a year where scoring has absolutely skyrocketed.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you know, Dan, but I'm actually on pace for a 20-goal season this year.
You're kidding?
Yeah, I know, crazy. I never would have thought of it. I mean, all jokes aside, players like fucking Matt Calvert are going to get 45 points this year, and that's...
I saw your Zach Cassian tweet about his contract. This isn't going to be a problem in a few years.
Fucking beautiful. so many third liners are going to get overpaid this year. It's going to be fucking beautiful, and we're going to rock it straight back down to under 5 goals a game next year. And oh my God, I'm here for it every step of the way. Yeah, I reckon it's got to be. It's got to be. Because if someone's trying to tell me that in a tie game with 2 minutes left, all 31 NHL coaches, if anyone tries to say that any NHL coach isn't saying to their players, let's just not lose the game, let's bank the point and then try and win it in OT, you're fucking lying to me.
I agree.
That's what I'd say, because they're trying to keep their job every single game, especially this bloody season, and a point's better than no points, isn't it? Dan, by my maths.
Exactly. Do you not think, just to play devil's advocate slightly, do you not think teams would still tighten up with a couple of minutes to go? It's more, not that you're not trying to lose it for the loser point, you're just not trying to lose it. It's more don't make a mistake than let's try something and try and win the game.
Yeah, but then that's defensive-minded hockey that leads us to things like that anyway, isn't it? It's never even the most stalwart defensive teams, the Trap Devils or whatever, they're not trying to not score goals, they're just trying to not make mistakes and not concede any goals and sort of wait for their opportunity, aren't they? We need to find a way to force teams to go ahead and try and score goals.
You see, I know the 3-2-1-0 method is out there, but I'd still prefer a 40-3-1-0. There's no 2 points, because I still think then it's just you just get a reward. It's a reward for 3 points if you win. Simple as that. It doesn't matter if it's OT, shootout, whatever, because then the reward is much greater to win. You have to go for it, because then 1 point is it's not 50%. You're not getting 50% worth of the points. It's only 33% worth of the points. So it's 3-1-0. That's it.
So 3-1-0 with draws or without draws?
Without draws. So there's an OT loss point for you get 1 point if you lose an OT, because you've taken it to OT. But then there's going to be less teams going for it.
But then you've still got the problem of some games are worth more than others.
But if it's 3 points for a win, teams are going to be still more. I believe teams will still be more inclined to go for it to get 3 points.
Yeah, but then it doesn't fix the problem with the standings where you've got some games are giving out more points than others. I think we need pure footy standards. Keep 3-on-3 OT, bump it up to 7 minutes or whatever. And if it's still tied after OT, unlucky boys, it's a draw.
I think the whole North American sports landscape would burn to the ground if draws were actually a thing.
Mate,
they just can't.
Let me send a message.
Can't handle it, can they?
To any North American fans, any fans all around the world. Let's not be prejudiced against our friends across the Atlantic. If you can't handle a draw in sports, like, get over it. Draw's a draw. You know what I mean?
That's a well thought out argument. If you can't handle draws in sports, get over it.
What would you rather? Would you rather draw a game or lose games?
That's exactly what I thought. So shut it.
Yeah, stuff it. Draws are good. 0-0 draws especially.
Oh, little ball draw, cheeky ball draw. Oh, fantastic.
Ball draw. or
God, can you imagine hockey game finishing 0-0?
Mate, or you can even have the wonder of a draw that you should have won. Such as Arsenal-Chelsea the other night, where one of the goals.
Yeah, you see, that's exactly.
By VAR. So mate,
that's when our American and Canadian friends don't appreciate the draw. It's when a game you've been absolutely stonked and you just sneak a fluky goal at the end and you take a point. You're like, yes, I'll take a point out of that.
I resent the implication that 2 shots on goal in 90 minutes implies a stonking, Dan. I don't know.
I mean, you can resent the implication all you want, Will, but it is there.
That's, mate, to 100% accuracy rate, mate.
Yeah, it's true.
2 shots, 2 goals. We had as many shots as we needed.
Oh yeah, Arsenal and the analytics darlings don't take any more shots than they need.
Exactly.
No wasted effort.
We're not trying to pad the Corsi, mate. We're just
no, of course not.
Pad the Scorsy.
Pad the Scorsy.
Like that, there you go.
Oh, Scorsy. Yeah, I like that a lot.
It's the only stat that matters. The Scorsy. Write that one down.
There we go then. So you're taking, there's no shootout. End of OT if it's a draw. It's a draw, that's it. Top.
Yeah, point each. And then and 3 points if you win.
All right, let's get on with the show.
Let's do it.
Hey everybody, it's that time of the week. It is the Smooth Recap. Spoiler alert, but who cares if Fireman died in Avengers? They have a replacement in Florida as current Iron Man Keith Yandel becomes the first Panthers defenseman with 4 points in a game since October 2011.
Patrick Kane, or as you may know him, Inmate 09237, has now scored 1,000 career NHL points. That said, the 1,000th tally came on a secondary assist, and we all know those don't really count.
Big bowls of milk all around, as Andre the Big Cat Vasilevsky becomes only the 4th goalie in NHL history to post a 10-game win streak for 2 seasons in a row. He credits his amazing hand-eye coordination to a laser pointer that the goalie coach has introduced in training, although he hasn't quite managed to catch that yet.
Back to the Blackhawks. Jonathan Taves assaulted a colleague earlier this week by pinning Duncan Keith to the ice and feeding him what would have been his own teeth. A meeting with HR is likely scheduled for later this week.
Chris Kreider replaces Artemi Panarin, meaning this year's All-Star Reserves Second 11 Basic Bitch Aldi Middle Aisle Made by Your Grandma game is shaping up to be a real star-studded event.
The Blues have laid a new blue line in time for the All-Star game this weekend. It has golden trumpets painted within the lines and looks fucking phenomenal.
Mobster son, Frankie the Frank Vetrano, scored a hat-trick this week. Did you know only 8 players in NHL history called Frank have scored hat-tricks? That was this week's Frank Trivia.
All the good shit happened in the Eastern Conference or the KHL this week, so I'm only doing 4 news points out of protest, you fucking bastards.
We all know that Eugene Melnyk is a vampire, and now we know why he never managed to swing a trade for Geno Malkin or Sidney Crosby, as they have the highest points per game in day games of any active players. And that was your Smooth recap. What do you think about the Keith and Taves fight?
I think it's fucking dumb. You can't go like what? So all right, so we allow fighting within games, yeah, because so many people are like, yeah, it's hockey. You should be fighting each other. It shows passion. So you're allowed to fight the opponent in games. All right, fair enough. That's in the rule books. Now we're saying you're allowed to fight people in practice. What about like what are you on the plane and Jumbo Joe Thornton isn't happy with Kevin LeBank's fucking Netflix choice, so just like starts pounding him in the face. Like, well,
I will bet you pounds to peanuts. There's been fights on planes between teammates.
Without a doubt, because we're all fucking idiots. Yeah, it's dumb as shit. And like, why would you fight over a team that's that shit?
I don't think right. I'm not going to defend them. Although here is my defense of those players.
However, if I was going to defend them, this is what I would say.
Yeah, if I was going to stand up in court and represent these two men, here's what I would say. You just put men together for that long. In the end, they're going to fight over something. I love my friends till the end of the earth, and I'll do anything for my friends. But I guarantee you, if I live with one of them for a year, by the end of that year, one of us will be dead. Just dead. Because you just can't do it. We're just not wired that way to be around each other that much. We just have that stupid, dumb side of our brain that's all bravado and testosterone and fucking bullshit and all this stuff. And as much as we don't want it to come out, in the end, it's going to come out at some point. And you're just going to have a little scuffle, aren't you? So
I'm worried this example is going to backfire on me. But Dan, you worked in a kitchen. You were a chef for a long time, right?
Well, I would say I was a cook. I don't like the word chef. I prefer cook, but yes,
you were a cook.
I cooked for my profession.
You worked in a high pressure environment. Yeah,
I did.
Did you ever fight one of your colleagues physically?
No. But okay, here's why that's going to backfire. If I could have done at points, I would have, because there were points where me and people I was like, we would have killed each other over like pasta.
Yeah, but you didn't,
something like that,
because you showed self-restraint and you worked in an environment that didn't promote unnecessary violence and unnecessary.
No, we didn't, because we would have been fired. It's got nothing to do with showing restraint. I needed like a paycheck.
Yeah, and you shouldn't be allowed to do it in the NHL. You did it because there were good. You didn't do it because there would have been repercussions. The only reason that the fucking Blackhawks are doing it is because they're allowed to and arguably encouraged to by this fucking toxic masculinity culture that surrounds this sport.
You got a point. You have got a point, but I just think you. I just think you leave men on their own for long enough. Or keep them hemmed in together for long enough, travelling, all that kind of thing. I think in the end they're just going to fight. And I agree it's stupid, and why would you? It's ridiculous, but...
Yeah, like I think there's always going to be disagreements, and you can't say that there shouldn't be harsh words or, that people have to be best buddies or anything, and they can't shout at each other or have arguments. But yeah, I think the only reason you get into a fight with someone in a situation like that is where there aren't any consequences.
Kind of, but then... I think the problem is
you say about fighting one of your mates, like, there aren't any real consequences to that, are there? Especially if you know that you can either you kiss and make up or you don't, and whatever. Like, you've lost a geezer, you're not mates with a geezer that you wanted to fight. Fucking whatever.
I don't know. I think you're looking at it too simplistically as a young man.
I just think it's a place of work and you shouldn't be allowed to assault your colleagues.
Yeah, I mean, I can't argue with that point. I do understand what you're saying, but I'm also of the opinion that, oh God, I'm not saying that.
Yeah, like I get why they'd fight. Like I completely.
It's just that stupid male bullshit thing of there's a point where you can have an opinion about something, and it might be something so silly, but you believe that opinion so much that you just in the end you're like, I can't back down at this point. And it just escalates and escalates and escalates. And it is ridiculous. It's completely ridiculous.
So you reckon
that's just how it goes sometimes.
You reckon it's based on a difference of opinions?
I mean, yeah, I don't think they were both agreeing on something, were they?
So do you reckon Duncan Keith just wasn't organising his recycling properly?
I mean, it might be.
Who's to say?
Who's to say? I know. But yeah, you are right. It is stupid and dumb, but that's boys, isn't it? That's what boys do.
Boys will be boys, as they say.
We are stupid and dumb sometimes. Before we move on to who's winning the cup, even after last week, talking about the All-Star game, even more players have dropped out now.
Like every single day somebody's dropping out. It's so good.
Austin Matthews has got a wrist injury. Fuck off. Fuck off, he has. Fucking bullshit. If the Leafs were 10 points clear the top of the fucking division, there's no way he wouldn't be going. Of course he's not got a wrist injury.
He wouldn't give a fucking shit. I wonder.
I like the idea that they said, he's going to be down there taking part in the event, signing autographs. He's got a wrist injury. How's he signing autographs? Whoops.
Fucking cut yourself out there, didn't you?
You know, I know.
Mate.
Like, no offense again, Chris Kreider. No offense. He's not an all-star. Sorry, Chris Kreider. You're not an all-star.
To replace Artemi Panarin as well.
To replace Artemi Panarin, like Brady Tkachuk is replacing Austin Matthews. Sorry, Brady. I like you got a lot of grit and jam. Well, great. You're not an all-star. Sorry.
There's a disappointingly low amount of all-stars left in the all-star game.
It's ridiculous, isn't it? It's absolutely ridiculous.
But we'll see. Maybe it'll work out. Maybe it'll still be good. Maybe it's better for it.
Maybe one of them just go the fuck off. Maybe Chris Kreider's like, shit, this is my chance to earn some fucking coin. I'm going to drill someone in the game and just fucking annihilate him.
Especially how many fucking pending UFAs goes to the All-Star game? Can't be that many.
Exactly.
Come on, mate.
Go make a name for yourself. Is Brady Tkachuk? Yeah, Brady Tkachuk's still on his ELC, isn't he?
Yeah, I think so. Sounds about right.
Yeah, exactly. Get out there. Get out there and kill someone.
Earn that RFA money.
Get that money. Yeah,
well,
get that RFA money.
No point doing that because he's trying to get blood from a stone, from Eugene's stone.
All right. Who's winning the cup this week?
It's Ovi. Ovi's winning the cup. How can he not be at this point? Oh, he's just fucking absolutely rocketing up the leaderboards, isn't he?
The best thing was that at the start of the season, it was kind of mentioned that somebody somewhere showed the graphic about how many goals he had and everything. And I was looking at it thinking, God, if he can get it's like 35 or 36 goals or something, he's going to move up from something like 12th to 5th or something like that. And I was thinking, that'd be awesome. And he is. Like he scores a hat-trick in a game, moves into 10th, scores another hat-trick, moves into 9th. Yes, let's go.
What was the stat I saw today? I think if he gets 8 goals in his next 27, then he becomes the second fastest player to 700.
Do you know what? I'm glad you mentioned Ovi, actually. The Mount Rushmore needs to be 5 players, and Ovi needs to be on it.
Mate, you need to get over this Mount Rushmore idea and accept that maybe we're going to be finding more and more and more great players, As soon as
Ovi gets past his goals, that's it. I'm fucking getting the hammer and chisel out, and Gretzky's gone.
See you later, Gretz.
Ding, 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 ding. What are you doing? That's it. He's off. Chunk.
So by recency bias, the Mount Rushmore should be Mario, Sid, Ovi, and Ross Johnston.
I knew you were going to say Ross Johnston.
I thought about saying Kevin LeBanc for some reason, but yeah, in theory, if you're going to go that route, then it's Wayne, Mario, Sid, and Ovi.
I'm not saying it's a recency bias.
Well, no, not recency bias, but it's like first one in, first one out sort of thing.
No, but he should be. Yeah, he's okay. I know what you're saying. But if here's what I'm saying. If I had to pick,
no Gordie Howe, no Bobby Orr, no Maurice Richard.
If I had to pick 4, I'm picking Mario, Bobby Orr, Gretzky, and Sid. That's the 4 I would pick if I had to.
Yeah, I think I'll give you that. Yeah. No Gordie Howe though is a problem.
I mean, it isn't. So there's that.
Yeah, that's the thing. That is the thing. It's hard to really appreciate how good Gordie Howe was now. No, who have you got winning the cup? Is it Gordie Howe?
This is an easy one this week. It's the Columbus Blue Jackets. And this isn't even a jokey one. They might legitimately win the cup. This is ridiculous. I mean, do you know what? Do you know what the best thing is? The best thing is they lose all these pieces in the off-season. And this is why I am Mr. Intangibles. Do you know what analytics doesn't measure, William? Desire. And the ability to find a hot Latvian goalie. You can't measure those things, Will. They're immeasurable. Analytics, no. This is desire. This is effort. This is good coaching. Not about the players. Panarin, gone. Duchesne, gone. Bobrovsky, gone. However many else left, they signed Gus Nyquist, and that's it. And everyone says, clearly Washington are going to win the division. Columbus are going to finish bottom. Everyone else can fight out in the middle. And Columbus have got more points at this point than Toronto. That's insane.
Fucking mental. What's that old trance song that's got Desire in the hook? It's like
Oh yeah, Free from Desire. Yeah, that one.
that tune. They just play that all the time. Yeah, like this is parody gone wild, isn't it?
Yeah, it has to be.
In the sense that
Has to be.
they lost all their good players. They're fucking objectively shit. Should be as bad as Detroit and Ottawa and Jersey, but they're not.
And as of today, they're in a not comfortable, but I mean they're in a playoff spot. That's like coming into the All-Star game.
Relatively comfortable. They're above the bloody Hurricanes, for fuck's sakes.
I know. It's ridiculous. Oliver Bjorkstrand's on fire and he's on pace to like blow away his best season ever. They've got 15 comeback wins this season. Not only has this team lost all its best players, but even when they're losing in a game, they're still like, no, fuck it, we'll still win this game. How are they doing that?
Whole thing.
How are they doing that?
I just don't know. Is the long and short of it, Dan? I don't understand anything anymore. Nothing makes any sense.
You got to give Torts credit. It's absolutely great coaching. It's absolutely great coaching. This is whatever he's doing. It's fantastic coaching 101. And he did say, didn't he? He said at the start of the season he's got to change his style with this group because it's not. It's a basic. He's got very basic players. He's got a couple of key pieces, but that's about it. And he's got to be different with this group. Maybe that's been the secret. Maybe that's it.
I'm not saying that Torts has done a bad job.
I would hope not.
No, he definitely hasn't. But can we really put this whole thing on Torts? We can't give him all the credit for it, can we?
I don't know. It's the Blues from last season. It's the ability to find a hot goalie.
Yeah, that's absolutely
Elvis in his last 8 games has won 7. His save percentages in those 7 were 909, 925, 946, 900, 941, 1,000, 1,000, 1,000. Not in that order, but still. I mean, what's that averaging out at? Something like 945 or something like that? And his last 7, in 7 of his wins? That's just ridiculous.
If only I knew how to find that. I think it's a thing where a coach can thwart a hot goalie, but when you've got a hot goalie, you can't give a coach credit. Torts hasn't fucked it up basically.
He's not responsible for it, but he's also not responsible for ruining anything they're doing that's good. He's just letting them, okay, yeah, you keep doing that, that's fine. He's not overcoaching, basically, I guess.
Yeah, that's the thing. He's not coaching the success out of them.
Did you see Dimitri's tweet about Bobrovsky and Columbus's goalies?
Oh, mate, I think I've got that saved later on my... where did I have
Fair
it?
enough.
I had a note. Oh, that... yes, because I'm going to relegate Sergei Bobrovsky specifically for that tweet.
Okay then, as I've done my winning the cup, Will, who are you relegated?
I'm going to relegate Sergei Bobrovsky, the Florida goalie.
No way.
Have you heard about
Yeah, the former... Yeah, he's the former Columbus goalie, right?
Not a lot of people know this, but he actually was allowed to walk from the Blue Jackets this off-season in favour of the inexperienced tandem of Jonas Korpisalo and Elvis Merzlikins.
Right.
Dmitry Filipovic came out with a wonderful stat. After Bobrovsky walked, he signed a $70 million contract. After that, they've now got a tandem that combines for $3 million against the cap. $3 million against the cap. That's not even a third of what Bobrovsky makes per season. And they have the second best 5-on-5 save percentage and the third best save percentage overall, including all situations. How's that for bang for your buck there, Dan?
It's just mad, isn't it? It's just mad. Goalies are such fucking voodoo. It's just insane.
I think it's almost like a little bit like what I was saying about coaching and goalies a minute ago. Don't bet on good goalies, bet on shit goalies. Or average goalies.
We discussed when Bobrovsky signed his deal that we said, well, look at the 4 goalies who were in the conference finals last year. I mean, one of them was Tuukka Rask was making 7. Mrazek was making about 2. Binnington was in the AHL 6 months earlier. Yeah, and Martin Jones was making like 5.7.
And look how that worked out.
And yet they're going to pay, they decided to pay Bobrovsky 10.
Like, I think it's the thing where if you're paying more than like 6 or 7 for a goalie, the chances aren't in your favour. You're not going to get $10 million worth of worth out of your goalie.
No, never.
Or chances are you aren't. Because a 10 million goalie is a goalie that's up in the fucking heart conversation every year.
Not even the Vezina. A 10 million goalie should be in the heart conversation.
I'll tell you,
I mean, it's joking aside. It should be Hasek levels of holy shit. I mean, this guy is insane.
Well,
no wonder they're paying him 10 million quid.
And the only reason that Price got that 10 million and broke the metrics for it was because he got the heart that year. Not saying that he didn't deserve it, but if he hadn't had that stellar a year where he won the heart, he doesn't get 10.5 million, and we aren't sitting here talking about fucking Sergei Bobrovsky being an $11 million goalie. We're probably still saying, oh, he's not worth 8, he's not worth 9 or whatever, but it's not quite as dire a situation.
I don't want to get into it too much because it's a discussion for another day, but the fucking Panthers are on fire. Can you imagine how good they would be if he was playing well? Like, that's insane, isn't it? We're here railing the Panthers and they're currently sitting third in the division. Like,
and I know it's such a simple...
in an even more comfortable spot than Columbus.
It's such a simple way of looking at it, but yeah, you say, oh, if only Bobrovsky was playing well. If only the player who's on the ice all the time was playing well.
It's so true.
Like, you're guaranteed to have 1 out of your 6 players be shit at all times. Yeah. Oh, man.
God, hockey's dumb. It's just mad, isn't it? It's so stupid. It's so stupid, this sport.
We need to start getting proper goalie platoons going. Like, you dress 3 goalies and fucking goalie shifts, mate.
Don't know why at the start of the season, just get as many goalies in as possible and just keep trying them until one of them, sticks.
Yeah, I mean, mid-game, mate.
Yeah.
Change him at the whistle, whatever.
Like a pitcher. This is my starting goalie. He gets tired after half an hour, so I've got my closing goalie as well.
This is it. Ideally, you want your goalies to be averaging 20 minutes a night. Really. Yeah.
And only for 40 games a season.
You might want to shelter certain goalies and play them 15 sort of thing. And some elite goalies might hit 25, maybe close to 30 minutes a night. But yeah, ideally, you don't want to play them any more than that.
No, not at all. Don't want to get too tired.
Who have you got being relegated this week?
This week's an easy one. Brandon Manning and the AHL.
I almost wrote that one, but I wanted to make more jokes, so I didn't. I'm just beyond this now. Like, racial slurs, you just ban for life. That's it. Sorry. I'm sick of hearing, I'm going to learn from this and become a better person. Do you know what? Just fuck off. Just fuck off. If I did this in my job, I would get fired in a second. And it's insane that there's different rules for different people. He's in a privileged position. He's getting paid all that money, and he still has to fucking do something like that. And the AHL, fucking spineless bullshit. The statements that come out, at no point did any of the statements use the word racism. It just, he used the racist. It's a fucking joke, and I'm done with it. I'm just done with it. I don't get it. You want to make a stand and promote all this bullshit, and you can play and all that fucking shite. Yeah, a 5-game suspension. Fuck off. And obviously, Brandon Manning should know as a 29-year-old male, no matter what. But considering all of the Akeem Alou stuff recently, and he's playing in a league where it all transpired in the first place, the original stuff with Bill Peters. Yeah, how much of a piece of shit do you have to be?
Anyway, let's move on.
Fucking disgraceful.
How many starters and scratches you got?
Come on, mate, have I got some starters and scratches for you this week? I've got 4 starters and a pair of scratches.
I got 3 and 1. All right, you go first.
My first starter is going to be the KHL for absolutely smashing all-star games out of the park, Dan. Absolutely rinsing it. The rock, paper, scissors breakaway was my favourite part of it, I think.
Yeah, fantastic.
And did you see the goalie taking a face off?
I did indeed.
And then just the other team win it, and he's like, whatever, score, I don't give a shit. It's like, fucking yes, mate. That's the kind of not caring that we want to see. I don't necessarily mind if NHL players are playing at half speed or whatever, but at least have some fun with it. Jeez Louise. Perfection from the KHL All-Star game, as per usual, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm going to start Wes McCauley for making Matthew and Brady Tkachuk take a face-off together. I will just... This is half starting, half scratching. I saw plenty of people using the "this is hysterical" emojis. Let's pump the brake on that. It wasn't hysterical, but it was quite cool. So Wes McCauley gets a start. And Wes McCauley's brilliant. So, any excuse to start Wes McCauley is fine. And that was a nice touch.
Yeah, really nice touch. Really, really nice touch. We love that. that was going to be my second one, so you've saved us a bit of time there. So my second one is going to be another All-Star Game thing, this time from the ECHL. Dan, I'm going to start Tommy Martin. Have you heard the legend of Tommy Martin?
Saw something about this, but I unfortunately scrolled past it.
Mr. Martin completed the accuracy competition, so the 4 targets, 1 in each corner.
Oh, that was it. That was it.
A stonking 2.365 seconds.
Fucking hell.
Absolute nutter. Have you seen the video
That's
for
ridiculous. No, not yet.
Because the thing that I love about it is, like, you know, when you watch a player doing this these accuracy competitions and they're absolutely ripping these pucks, like proper hard, normal shots or whatever.
Yeah.
Martin's clearly got the right idea, because he was just like feathering them in, easy as you like, just no power on them really, just right, that one goes there, like he's passing it at the targets. It was just something about it. I was like, go on, son, that's how you've done it. You've beat the system.
Like we said before, you don't have to bust the back of the net. The puck's in, you got to just cross the line and it's a goal. I'm going to start the out of context hockey Twitter account. Posted a brilliant video, and I'm sure you've all seen this. It's a handshake line after a game, and as the players are going past each other,
Yes.
the goalie gets to a player, and instead of shaking his hand, just smashes him in the face. Just amazing. And the best thing is, you could tell this guy deserved it, because there's no melee. His friends just stood there looking at it like, "No, you deserve that. You got punched," and that was it. There's no like bench clearing, no nothing, no like everyone just starts diving in, swinging at each other. No,
Everyone just,
he just got socked in the face.
You get some really
And his mate
slowly
just looked at him.
and just carry on.
Yeah.
All right. Fair enough.
It was great.
Jesus Christ. Fucking beautiful. My third and final starter, Dan, is one that's close to home for you and I. Nice classic one. I'm going to start Nick Brett. Do you know who Nick Brett is, Dan?
I do indeed.
You do indeed. For the uninitiated. Nick Brett is an indoor bowls player who I think it'd be safe to say that neither of us had heard of until about 6 hours ago. I'm sure you've all seen it.
It's true.
It's doing the rounds. He's made the most perfect indoor bowl shot that I've ever seen in my entire life. The ball
It's
coming all the
unbelievable.
way around and going through a space that I can only imagine is exactly the size of a bowl on its side. And, oh my God, incredible. Arguably, he should probably be up for Sports Personality of the Year for that.
That's a great point. It may be the greatest indoor bowls shot ever. I mean, it's just... It is almost physics defying. Like, that shouldn't... How does that fit through that gap? And then it does the typical roll at the end, doesn't it? And just rolls the jack perfectly into his other ball. Like, oh, God, just amazing.
Absolutely crazy. Yeah, I just don't understand how you even line that shot up, because it comes in, like, horizontally, basically. It's not like it curves in. It just curves and takes a fucking right angle to the left. Mental.
I just love the fact on this extremely niche podcast when I was talking about indoor bowls.
but then arguably this indoor bowls clip is more famous in North America right now than the entire AHL has ever been in the UK.
It's fantastic. To be fair, that is true. I saw American football fans who I know retweeting it, being like, "Oh my God, what the hell is this? This is unbelievable. This is the greatest thing I've ever seen."
I saw it through a Barstool account. Oh, what the fuck?
Speaking of niche sports, did you see that snooker shot from last week?
No.
The greatest snooker shot in history. Holy fuck. Okay, the Reds are still jumbled together. Only 2 or 3 Reds have been potted.
Okay,
so you know players will smash the cube.
Got
2 or 3 breaks have kind of happened, but the Reds are still kind of bundled together very closely. So players will hit the white ball, won't they? Screw back into the pack and break them up a bit to give themselves a bit more options on the Reds. A player smashes the cue ball into the red. The red hits the jaws of the pocket, bounces up in the air, lands back on the table, and backspins into the same pocket. At the same time, the white ball bounces across the pack of reds, goes across the table, hits the jaws of the middle pocket, and goes into the top right pocket.
What a week for mental shots in sports that nobody really cares about.
We need to. Maybe this was the week that Kabaddi had like the greatest match ever, or Highlight had the greatest shot ever as well, and we've just missed those.
Who's your last starter, Dan?
My last starter's got to be Justin Williams. In his first game back, scores the shootout winner, and then scores his first goal in his next game. Clearly not missed a beat. And then they play dodgeball at the end with the helmets. Fantastic stuff.
I'll give you that. I'll give you that. So a good return to the game from Mr. Williams.
Indeed. Yeah, you got 2 scratches, right?
I sure do.
Okay, you go first.
Well, similar to what we were saying about the Mount Rushmore earlier and how people need to start be taking off it. I'm going to scratch Wayne Gretzky because we've been talking all about how Ovi is slowly but surely encroaching on Wayne's record.
Yeah.
Did you know that we haven't got evidence of Wayne Gretzky scoring a single goal since Ovechkin started his career?
Huh?
I'm not talking about, obviously he hasn't scored any NHL goals because he hasn't been playing in the NHL, that's fair enough, but I haven't got any evidence of Wayne Gretzky even scoring in his back garden, maybe playing a bit of rec on the weekend. As far as we can prove, Wayne Gretzky has not scored a single goal since Alexander Ovechkin entered the league. And that's just, what kind of a response to that is it? It's just not really, it's despicable.
It's a fair point. You'd think he'd have, like, just a home video or something of him just ripping one time
Even
in his backyard or something.
Yeah, like, I might not be in the league.
Even into an empty net.
I'm still the daddy. Yeah, but no. A pathetic performance from Gretzky.
Or he built a goalie out of, like, cardboard boxes or something.
It's like, yeah, fuck you, Alex.
He's just smashing pucks past him. I'm scratching the snow in Canada. It's insane.
Jesus Christ.
How do people live? How do people live? Did you see that picture of that somebody opened their front door and in the space where their front door used to be, there is a snow front door.
Yeah, they didn't open
snow.
their front door. That's now like a screen
It's
door,
like
an inner door.
It's higher than their front door. How is that possible?
Mate,
People are opening their front doors to just mounds of the stuff.
it's absolutely crazy. I've got a friend who recently moved back to he lives in Newfoundland.
Oh yeah.
And mate, he was sending us all these videos of the snow and him and his dad digging out the cars and stuff like that. It's just absolutely loopy. Like you say, how do you even? Obviously, this is freak and this isn't normal. Jeez, even for not normal, this is untenable, basically.
Yeah, it's madness. I will say, when people were posting pictures of giant mounds of powder blocking the door, I thought it might be one of Kuzi's special deliveries, but it turned out it was just snow.
We haven't proven that it's not yet. Maybe Yuri the Terror is making a little helicopter drop over Canada.
Yuri Laterra is like, please send to Evgeny Kuznetsov, care of Washington.
I haven't got his address. Can you just pass it on?
Yeah. Okay, and your final scratch?
My final scratch is going to be Brad Marchand. It's fucking over, mate. Hand in your stick. It's finished. You're done.
Why?
Because he ain't got no hands anymore, Dan. He's getting bought out at the end of the year. It's over.
How dare you?
First the shootout attempt. Second the breakaway, where he just loses control of the puck entirely. Like he's done.
That was terrible. Up. You have to be careful, because it is his year. Did you know it's the year of the rat in the Chinese calendar? Yeah, it's year of the rat this year. It's Brad's year.
So I'm glad you mentioned the Chinese New Year, as my 2-year-old was at nursery yesterday, Dan, and they were learning all about the Chinese New Year.
Yeah.
So I had to have a very strange and surreal conversation last night with my 2-year-old about Chinese people and Chinese things, knowing full well that she doesn't have any concept of any difference between her and
she has no concept of anything outside of
on the telly.
She has no concept of anything outside of your house and school, basically, does she?
Well, yeah. Like she doesn't know that she's any different from a dog, let alone the idea of people in different races with a different lifestyle across the world
or belief system.
Yeah, like a whole different belief system. So it's like, okay, well, this is just weird. How do I train a baby not to be racist?
I feel it's a very loaded question, Will, and one I'm not going to answer.
It's fine, because you feel like you haven't succeeded.
You twat. Unfortunately, Will, with my my past histories with ladies, I'm a fantastic person to show how not racism is a great thing. Because I would tell you, honestly, any kind. I love everything. It's all great. They're all great. I said to you before, my mates were stunned I married a white woman. They were stunned. Because when they met Sarah for the first time, it's two of them afterwards said, "So she's white then?" I was like, "Yes." And I'm like, "Huh, I'm surprised."
Oh, okay. There we go.
No. Oh yeah, sorry. And Gung Hei Fat Choi to our Chinese friends out there.
Okay.
It's Happy New Year. Happy New Year in Chinese. Or Cantonese, should I say. Sorry.
There you go. Absolutely.
And how do I know that? How do I know that, Will?
How do you know that?
How do I know that? Because I had a Chinese ex-girlfriend.
Of course you did. Of course you did.
Of course I did.
Most people just learn stuff through Duolingo, Dan. But whatever.
No, not me. Not me.
No, got to get it first hand.
Got to get it first hand, yeah. And that is also why I know a few Cantonese phrases, and I can, if we go to like a Chinese restaurant and stuff, I can order certain things on the menu in Chinese. I don't have to say in English and stuff.
So you do like a fraction of your order in Cantonese, and then when they start talking back to
no, the things I always order.
Mate, can I get special fried rice with that as well, please?
You got any egg and chips, mate?
Yeah, do you do roast beef English style?
Yeah. Do you do Big Macs? No, the things I always order. That I get the same thing every time, so I always order like in China. I always order in Cantonese.
Oh, go on then. What's your Chinese order?
So I always get bolai, which is like a Chinese tea.
Okay.
And then I'll always get.
Wait.
Yes.
Fuck's sake. What's your Chinese takeaway order? Well, I'll start with a tea. Who's ordering tea from the Chinese takeaway?
Did I say takeaway?
Oh, all right. Smart.
Thank you. All right.
Okay, so you start with a bolai.
And bolai. So I always get bolai, which is a kind of tea. Chinese tea's fabulous, by the way. It's incredibly, because Chinese food can be quite claggy and quite sticky, and Chinese tea is like a really good cleansing quality to it.
Yeah.
And I'll always get shumai, which is like a little pork and prawn dumpling, a little dim sum. I'll always get a char siu bao, which is it's a sweet pork. It sounds crazy. If you open the bun, which is the bao, if you open the bun, it's like a cloud. But if you open it, it looks like it's got kind of like a weird like meat and jelly inside it. But it's really sweet pork. Char siu bao is like the best thing on a Chinese menu. They're absolutely amazing.
So
and then I'll get
pork pie.
Do you know what? It kind of is. Yeah, it kind of is. But it just looks like a cloud. I don't know how they do it. It's very clever. And I'll always get sam siu fan, which is like it's 3 different kinds of meats on like a bed of rice. Ooh, so yeah. It's char siu pork, duck, and then like a crispy kind of pork. But it's absolutely phenomenal. But I always get the same thing every time.
That sounds like a good order. I wish I hadn't asked, because I'm sneakily hungry right now.
Yeah, I could do with some char siu bao actually. So as you know, we're on Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts, YouTube, and in your granddad's cassette player. It is my birthday show, so a 5-star review on iTunes would be a good present. My present for my wife and my daughter yesterday was 7 hours of DIY. So maybe you can beat that. The life of a dad. And you can also donate to the show at Red Circle. Before we get to the news, it is brought to you by Wave Intel. If you want to go to a game and impress the people you're sat next to, then do head over to Wave Intel online and on Twitter. It provides up-to-date graphics and comparison charts using the patented Versus model for teams. And also, if you can't decide if Sidney Crosby or Tyler Bozak is the better player, then you can use the Player Versus model as well. Wave Intel online and on Twitter. Being smart so you don't have to. Okay, shall we start with Gritty nearly murdering a child?
No, we need to find out who the actor inside Gritty is, because they're the one who attacked a child. Like, what are we...
This is the best thing about it, isn't it? The best thing is, everyone's talking as though Gritty's some kind of sentient being, not some dude in a costume making $5 an hour. It's insane.
I don't... Like, is there a video of it?
Apparently not. God, where did I read? I read somewhere that a video's been asked for, but there's no video of it, because it happened in November last year.
Did it?
Yes.
That's great. That's fucking great. The 2 things wrong with the situation.
There's only 2.
The two that creep to the front of my mind is, firstly, that we're talking about a fucking sentient mascot assaulting a child, and secondly, the amount of people that are like really dismissive of it. Like,
I know,
like, oh, the kid's 13. Like, who cares? You got punched by Gritty. You should be proud of it. I was like, no. we can't similarly to why Jonathan Taylor shouldn't be allowed to just beat the shit out of Duncan Keith. Mascots at sporting events shouldn't be allowed to punch minors in the back of the head. I don't give a shit if he's.
That's if he did. That's if he did.
If he
just
did.
let's, you know.
If he did, no, he definitely did. It's fucking gritty. Of course he did.
I mean, yeah, it is gritty. I'm amazed. I'm amazed it's taken him this long.
They haven't even brought out what he did after that. Like pushed him to the ground and was like dragging the kid's face across the concrete.
He's teabagging him.
Teabagging him. Fucking hell.
Calling him a noob.
It's a weird situation. I don't.
It's so weird.
Understand it. What is?
Have you seen the picture as well that was taken with the kid and his dad?
Didn't the dad change his profile picture to that picture the other day as well?
I didn't hear that. Is that right?
I mean, I don't know. Maybe.
It's an amazing picture because Gritty's not even looking at the camera, is he? He's just looking off to the side.
He's thinking,
It's such a
beat
funny
the shit out of
picture.
this kid in a minute.
And there's some dude, like some security dude in the background as well, stood there with like shades on, like he's protecting the president.
Is it really? I thought he was
it's
like
such-
a brother or something. I didn't
No,
take it.
that guy's not part of the family. It's the kid and the dad. That's it. I don't know who the security guy is. What he's there for? Maybe to stop Gritty wailing on people or something.
He's already like assaulted 4 or 5 kids.
He's like the dude in Have you ever seen Predator, the film?
Yeah, I have. Like, not for a long time though.
Okay, well, for something else, make sure you watch Predator again very soon. It's amazing. But there's a guy in Predator called Billy. The character's called Billy. I can't remember the actor's name. I think it's Sonny something. Anyway, they said that they had to hire a bodyguard, not for him, but to stop him fucking with other people. Because he would just like start fights with people all the time. He'd go out drinking at night and just get into fights and ruckuses, and so they had to hire a bodyguard to stop him doing. This is what they're doing for Gritty.
Well,
They've got to hire somebody to keep him in check.
The old Tyler Sagan treatment. I want to add a third disgraceful thing about this situation, in that I've just seen a picture of Gritty's head superimposed onto Aaron Hernandez being escorted from his house.
Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing.
Oh, what a time to be alive. Do you think he did it?
Oh, I've got no idea. If it was in November, why is it being brought up now, 2 months later? Like the dad just remembered. Maybe he was suffering from PTSD of the incident. He's woke up in the night going, "Oh my God, my son was punched by Gritty."
Like,
come on,
memories.
Yeah. Like what?
I don't know. He's a Flyers fan. Maybe he took too many batteries to the head.
This is the thing as well. It's a miracle it's taken this long for a Philadelphia mascot to do something like this. I mean, what do people expect? It's Philadelphia. No offense, Philly. I love you, but you're trash people. Like when you won the Super Bowl, there was people eating literal shit off the floor. I mean, what can I say?
Excuse me?
Oh, did you not know that?
What do you mean? Did I not know that?
Well, dude, it made the rounds. No, when the Eagles won the Super Bowl, there was people doing insane shit. There was a giant parade, and there was people who climbed on top of portaloos and were pissing on the crowd. There was people eating literal shit off the floor because they said, if Philly win the Super Bowl, I'll fucking eat shit and stuff like that. So they did.
That's, wow. I heard about the people pissing on each other, but that's fair enough. Whatever people do in either the privacy of their own home or the publicity of a Super Bowl parade is their own decision. But
I guess, like after when the Flyers owner died, and then fans started hurling the bracelets to commemorate the owner onto the ice in anger. I mean,
I think
of course Gritty's going to do some. That's why Gritty's done it. Maybe his popularity was waning, and he was thinking, "I need to do something off the chain here," and he's just gone ham on some kid.
The chain.
And all the fans are like, "Yes, Gritty's one of us."
I wish we had video like when that the Blackhawks mascot was fighting somebody.
Oh.
Just Gritty absolutely destroying this kid.
Did you know as well? Did you know that the Philly Fanatic from baseball is the most sued mascot in history?
Does he beat people up or?
I can't even remember. Yeah, it's like stuff like t-shirt guns and throwing stuff at people and tripping people up and I don't know, all kinds of crazy lawsuits against the Philly Fanatic. But yeah, it's Philadelphia. What do you expect? They're all mental.
You got to sort it out over there, Philly.
I know. It is true though. Yeah, everyone's giving the boy grief. No one cares. Everyone's like, yeah, Gritty, you rule.
Felt like Team Gritty.
Yeah.
I was going to ask a question that I absolutely know the answer to, even before asking it. But Who are the worst fans? Philly fans or Millwall fans?
Ooh, that's a good question. I mean, the answer's Millwall fans because they're psychopaths.
I still think it's Millwall by a country mile.
Yeah, I still think it's Millwall by a mile, but Philly fans are just kind of crazy. They're kind of crazy, but yeah, Millwall fans are just mentalists.
Dangerous. Do you know what Millwall fans are?
Yeah, very dangerous. Do you know that they used to? They would take. This is grim. But to be fair, a lot of football hooligans did this, not just Millwall fans. But I heard it about Millwall fans first. They would take box cutters, like a Stanley knife, with the single blade. And when you were waiting if you were like an away fan, or they thought you were an away fan or something, they would slice you across both bum cheeks with the razor, with the box cutter.
Oh, mate!
Because you couldn't sit down then, can you? You can't sit down because it stretches the skin and everything. So you'd have to get stitches in your arse across both cheeks, but then you couldn't sit down.
That's fucked up.
Innit? And then what happened was they found out that people were sort of buying, pillows with holes in and stuff like that so they could sit down. So they would take 2 box cutters, run them both across your bum cheeks, because now you couldn't sew one up without stretching the opening wound of the other one.
Fucking
grim.
Hell. What a beautiful game.
The beautiful game.
The beautiful game.
The beautiful game of association football, I'll say.
Fucking the wonders it's done for this world.
It's just madness. Anyway, talking of injuries.
Oi.
Hey.
You get me like that,
I've done a segue like that for ages. So Conor McDavid, I think it was the final game in the regular season last year against the Flames. I think it was.
Yeah, I think it was the last one.
Here comes McDavid. McDavid flying in, and he crashes into the Flames net. Tripping is the call. Holding his left leg, and he is still down on the ice, as you can see.
Here it is again, comes down, and it's the left leg that makes the initial contact right there on the post. And I mean, that's a lot of speed and weight coming through into that bar, and the left leg took the brunt of that collision.
Obviously breaks in on goal, going, I don't know, like max 7 or whatever, however fast he goes, and he crashes into the goal. And I remember us talking about it at the time, and obviously, has to get helped off the ice, and we were talking, and the Oilers and McDavid's camp they were quick to come out and be like, oh no, he's fine, it's just a little nick, he'll be okay. Up and about in no time.
See him playing mini golf really. In a leg boot like 2 months later.
Yeah, exactly. And then the picture comes out. The picture, and we talked about this on the show, like, I can't believe I feel sorry for this guy who's got 100 million notes in the bank, and he just looks miserable. And this is why. Turns out he actually went to see a load of specialists, and all of them were saying, well, obviously you've got to miss the entirety of next season. So just so you know that's basically day one. Like, you're missing the whole of next season. Your knee is completely done, and we've kind of got to rebuild it. And they were talking about, okay, you've got to change the way you skate, the way you turn. You're going to have to change everything about your game, which is insane.
They didn't really say that to him, did they?
They said you are going to miss the entirety of next season. And the way we're kind of going to sort you out, like, it might end up that you've kind of got to change everything. Because you know what knees are like, dude? Like, they're really dodgy, aren't they?
Knees are fucked
kids,
up.
if you're listening, kids, protect your joints. Protect your joints at all costs. If you can sit down instead of kneeling, sit down. Protect your knees, protect your hips. Because they're the worst things you can hurt. And McDavid, like, the way he plays, can you imagine if he'd have had to, like, miss an entire season and then rehab it? He wouldn't have been the same, would he?
Well, I mean, so surely he still does.
This is the thing. He goes to see, I don't know, a witch doctor or something. and he's kind of said, you can rehab it. You can use certain resting methods. You can use diet. You can use certain rehab methods.
Essential oils.
And it will be, yeah.
A lot of lavender.
Who was that guy who sent him the thing about? Was it white vinegar? What was it? Was it cider vinegar or something?
Oh,
remember that when he had the flu?
Apple cider vinegar.
Apple cider vinegar. I mean, yeah, it was all kind of that kind of stuff. And he's done that, and it seems to be okay. Which to me is terrifying. That he's playing on that leg and it's never been, like, medically fixed. That's terrifying.
Oh, mate. Jesus Christ. Fucking RoboCop over here.
Maybe he got away with it because he was young. I mean, it might be a case that in 4 or 5 years we're looking back saying, shit, he should have had that operation. He should have done something about it then.
Yeah, well, I reckon whenever it is, I feel like Conor McDavid ain't had the last from that knee.
Yeah. I remember watching Soccer AM years ago, when it was good. and
What with
they had a
Tim Vickery or whatever.
Lovejoy and Helen Chamberlain, yeah. And they had a, I can't remember who the footballer was. It might have been, I think it was Julian Dix or somebody like that. Anyway,
Jeez Louise.
they were talking to him about knee injuries because he had a couple, and he'd gone to a doctor and he said, "Doc," he said, I just want to play. I don't really care about the future. And the doctor said, "Right." He says, "Well, I can fix your knee in one way, and you'll be out for like a year and a half." He said, "But you will be able to play after that, and it will be better in the long run." But at the time, he was sort of 31, 32. And he was thinking, well, if I do that, then I may as well just give up now. He said, "So what's the other option?" So the doctor said, "Well, I can do a different procedure and you can play on it next week. But chances are you'll be in a wheelchair when you're like 55, 60. And he took that option because he just wanted to play.
Christ.
And I was just like, fucking hell. I hate bringing this up, but if the Oilers get to the playoffs, do you not send a goon out and just say, you know, if you maybe fall over just before you get to McDavid or something, that would be terrible if that happened.
Oh no.
Oh, yeah, he slipped. What a great shame.
Mate, imagine.
You know?
Imagine. That'd be horrendous though, wouldn't it?
It would. But you know what the playoffs are like, dude? Nobody cares, do they? It's fucking insane. It's madness out there. When you get to the playoffs.
Do what you can. Do what you can to win.
Exactly. Do what it takes to win. Do you know what as well? McDavid's selfish.
Go on.
Thought I'd leave that there for a sec.
Just let it hang.
If you'd have had the operation, the Oilers could have tanked again, and he would have had Lafreniere in his wing.
Well, surely that'd be more.
Made the team even better.
Mate, like as if that was going to work out well anyway.
That's so true.
Like,
I know the Oilers
just never works.
This is like one of the deepest drafts ever, and the Oilers go from like 1 to 15th or something in the lottery because they would.
Fucking, and even if they did, they'd just break Lafreniere. That'd be all it is. He turned into like Neo Yakupov, but Canadian.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. The Athletic did a player poll, and before we got onto this a little bit and some of the results about some of the things that came out of it, I can never decide if these are good or not, because you think, oh, I'd love to sit down with a player and get his opinion on this, get on that. What do you think about this? You play the game. I mean, what's your opinion? I'm going to ask you this first, Will. Do you think for 1 second we're getting honest answers for these players, or is it just I'll just say the first thing comes into my mind because I don't care about this?
I think we'll get so there's been like the league wide player poll, and then there's been more individual player polls, like team by team, that the beat writers are doing.
Yeah.
I think for the team by team ones, they're giving honest answers, but then they're for like, oh, who's the worst dressed, who has the worst taste in music and all that sort of stuff. So like, there's no incentive to not give honest answers. But yeah, I think for by and large, I wouldn't say not honest answers, but not particularly thought out answers.
Do you think any of them are political in the sense of what I mean by that is that a player thinks, well, if I say this thing, maybe it'll give me an advantage somewhere down the road?
No, I don't think so, because it's all anonymous, isn't it? No,
yeah, I know. But if everyone kind of picks the same player for something, or it's just like the fancy answer kind of thing, they're just thinking, well, I might say this actually because if it pumps this guy's tires a little bit, he gets in his own head maybe, or something like that. I can see
people putting people over sort of thing. Definitely. And so many of the answers just reek of being like, not misinformed, but like low effort. So like on the most underrated player one, which I know is always a magnet for derision anyway, suddenly Jonathan Huberdeau's second on that list because he's on pace for 100 points. Not to say that Jonathan Huberdeau's not a bad player, but nobody was talking about Jonathan Huberdeau last year or the year before, and now he's suddenly one of the most underrated players.
Isn't Sasha Barkov the most underrated player again for like the 6th year in a row?
Oh, I know, like fucking Braden Point's on there. The only one on that list, so you got Sasha Barkov, Jonathan Huberdeau, Nick Backstrom, Braden Point, and then for me, the only sort of true answer out of that lot is Jared Spurgeon.
There you go. That is an answer. That's a fucking answer.
That's what I'm talking about.
Braden Point underrated. You fucking mental.
What are you talking about?
40 goals last year.
Yeah, like Jared Spurgeon. That's a good one.
That's a good answer. That is a good answer.
That's a good answer. And like, 1 in 3 players that are polled picking Carey Price for a must-win Game 7. Like, Really? You'd sooner go for... I mean, Andrei Vasilevsky came third with 11% of the votes, and John Gibson wasn't even on the fucking list. It's just a popularity contest or like a fame contest for a lot of it, really, isn't it?
I just think it's like they're so wired to care about nothing but their own team and their own game and their own friends. I just don't think any of them give a shit about anything else. Who's the best goalie? Carey Price, and it's just that's it.
And even without...
Word it however you want to word it, but put anything like goalie good, they'll just go Carey Price.
Even if you take like the caring aspect out of it, I think it's like the ability to accurately keep on top of all of it. Like, say, we struggle to keep on top of all of the league, and I'd say in some respect I'd imagine I have a lot more free time than the average NHL player does, and more willingness to keep up on the league. Like, imagine if you're an NHL player, like, how many of them are going to spend all their free time like, I better research the NHL, I better do more work. I mean,
Panthers players aren't sat on the plane like, oh, fantastic, Vegas, fucking LA from last week, great.
Well, I reckon there are a fair few people that probably watch it. I'm going to be as informed as the average diehard fan, I wouldn't say.
Was there anything else on there that caught your eye? Anything worth?
No, because it's so...
Or was it like...
vanilla, like, it's all just pretty...
That's what I mean, like...
boring, like... Yeah, it's like best defensive defenseman, and fucking Shea Weber's still coming second. Like, not that Shea Weber's a bad player, but come on, guys, let's get and guess who was the best referee in the league?
Where's Macaulay?
Where's Macaulay? Which I would fine, but how can you? I mean, those ones are kind of interesting because they have more insight than we do as fans, but because they actually deal with them and they hear the stuff that they do. Even so, like. Just like anything, don't ask a hockey player or anything because they're not fucking interesting.
No, you're right. Just coming back to Carey Price, I only thought about this because somebody put on Twitter, like people will write into their notes and then tweet the picture of their notes. They wrote that the reason Carey Price is loved by everyone is because he does difficult things really easily. And he just makes the position look very simple, even though it's very difficult. And I just couldn't... I was like, okay, maybe like 5 years ago when he was playing awesome and he was like probably the best goalie in the world. But I was thinking like the last 2 or 3 years, how good... I mean, seriously, how good has he been? So I did look at some stats and I asked a great friend of the show, Punk Rock Jason from Wave Intel, to get his minions to post some stuff, which he very kindly did. So you can go... There is a thread on Twitter from @WaveIntel about goalies from the past 3 years and sort of, save percentages and all that kind of thing. But I wanted a decent sample size myself. So I looked at all strengths and 5v5. And for all strengths, there are 27 goalies who played a minimum of 6,000 minutes over the past, it'll be 2.5 years now. Mm-hmm. So Price is 18th in save percentage, 24th in goals against, 18th in goals saved above average, and 22nd in high danger save percentage. And I get it, right? You've got to have a decent team in front of you, but like those are bad numbers. He's not
even particularly close to being a top half goalie, let alone a top 10 goalie or the best goalie in the league.
Like not even close. And then so I looked at 5v5. And again, I tried to change the minutes slightly just to get a decent sample size, but there are 36 goalies who've played more than 4,000 5v5 minutes in the past 2.5 years. So out of 36, Price is 27th in save percentage, 31st in goals against, 27th in goals saved above average, and 32nd in high danger save percentages.
That's fucking awful.
I think it was like an annoyance thing more than anything else of these player polls, and you think you're getting some kind of wacky information. And at this point, I feel like player polls are just clickbait. Go find out what play they think this is. And I already knew the answer. And I was thinking, like, well, yeah, they're just going to pick Carey Price, or they're just going to pick this guy, or like you say, I mean, fucking Sasha Barkov's the most underrated player again. No, he's not. He's really good. Everybody knows he's really, really, really good.
But it's because we haven't declared a successor to that title yet. Like, it'll probably be Jonathan Huberdeau for another couple of years if he carries on as it is. He'll kind of take the mantle.
Yeah.
But then he doesn't play centre, so he's not a fancy pick to, make people think, oh, yeah, I understand the defensive side of the game more, than just looking at pure points or whatever.
Where did Luke Glendening finish?
Don't know. Wasn't listed. Should have been top of the list.
I know. Should have been top of the list. Jesus.
Best player, most underrated player, hardest to play against.
Best goalie.
Best goalie. Best referee.
He can do it all.
That's just the amazing talent of Luke Glendenning, and it can't be overstated enough.
Not at all. And consistently, innit? It's not even... It's over years and years and years. He's been so good.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't really like to think about it. It freaks me out just how good Luke Glendenning has been, while also not really being particularly productive with it.
I know. Very funny.
Just needs a chance. Put Luke Glendenning on your top line and see what happens.
There we go, though. So from here on out, the real fancy answer to most underrated player, Jared Spurgeon. That's a good answer. I like that answer a lot. Whichever players put that, thank you very much for actually having a decent answer and an honest answer.
Yeah, thanks for thinking outside the box, thinking for yourself.
Fucking Braden Point. The man called the next Patrice Bergeron is underrated. Fucking hell, yeah, of course he is.
Fucking hell. Yeah, a man making $9 million a year.
All right. So the NHL is putting out a decade series, and it's not finished yet, but it did bring up a good question, because I wanted to do this before they announced their team of the decade. So I said to Will, we should try and put together what we think the NHL will put for their team of the decade, and then what we would have as our team of the decade. Before that, I will quickly run through, and we'll quickly discuss a couple of the things that have already been decided. So the best series they had is Kings Blackhawks in 2014. Did you see that at all? Were you aware of that at the time? I can't remember when you started watching hockey.
Yeah, I was, because that was one that ended up with the Kings winning and then going into Kings Rangers final, wasn't it?
Yes.
I can't say I can remember the series particularly, to be honest, or even really understood enough at the time. You know what I mean?
I remember watching it. There was an OT. God. I want to say game 4 or 5, maybe. My memory's kind of a blank. I'm sure it was game 5. I might be wrong on that. But there was an OT that had more intensity and action than some games I've seen. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it was a fantastic series. But it's tough because like any kind of game 7 series is great, really, isn't it? Because it can go any way. You never know. So, but I do remember that one being really good.
Yeah, definitely. It was. The thing I remember about those playoffs is just watching my first ever playoff game. Game 1 of Pittsburgh Columbus that year, and just really instantly realising the difference in sort of passion and intensity that you're going to get in the playoffs.
Yeah,
that was fucking crazy.
So that was your series of the decade then?
I don't know if I go that far. I don't know what I put as my series of the decade. It's a fucking hard one. I kind of want to say the Lightning Blackhawks final from 2015, because that was pretty good.
That was good. How about Columbus Lightning from last year?
Jesus. Well,
like, if you want to talk memorable,
bit too one-sided for my liking. Jesus.
No, yeah. No surprises for these two. Blackhawks, franchise of the decade. I mean, pretty tough to argue that when you won 3 cups.
Yeah, like, as much as you want to hate on it, like
same.
Yeah, you can't hate it. You can't hate it. The Braden Holtby save of the decade. I'm just double checking, but if it's the one I think it is, then yeah,
it is. Yeah, it is that one you're thinking.
Yeah, you can't argue with that, can you?
I can say with hand on my heart, I legitimately screamed out loud, as though I was a fan of either team, because and in real time, I just couldn't. I don't know. I've seen it, like, I've watched it a million times now, because I'm gonna put this in, and obviously Doc Emmerich has an amazing call, but we both just kind of I screamed in unison with Doc Emmerich. I was going, oh, like that. But yeah, fantastic.
The edge of the crease, and now the hash marks as it's still back in, and Sitacote, it didn't go! It was tucked with a wide open net!
Incredible stop by Braden Holtby. It's an adventure right there. Now watch this. The puck goes across. Tuck has a wide open net, and the paddle of the stick. Holtby.
I remember us talking more about that save than any other save that we've ever spoken about combined together. We spent more time on that one than the rest of them.
That's true. Do you know you could have had as an outside shot if the NHL had any balls?
Go on.
Fleury's save against the Leafs a few months ago.
Come on, mate.
Because it started a movement, dude. Everything started with that save. Because that save didn't get Babcock fired, but he got fired after that. And away we go.
Might as well have.
And here we are now.
So, with these decade things, moment of the decade, did you see what their moment of the decade was?
Like, what the fuck is that?
They've listed it as the NHL 100 Gala. You can't have your own centennial celebrations as like your moment of the decade. That's just weird.
It is really weird. It's so weird.
Yeah, that's...
What was your moment of the decade? The moment that we made? Huh?
Oh, just some corporate event we did. What are you fucking talking about?
Not only a corporate event they fucked up, because I keep looking for Malkin on that list and I just can't see him. He's still not there.
Still ain't there. When you could have
I keep thinking one day they're just going to retcon it and then like not admit to it. Like, number 27 used to be blah, blah, blah. No, it's Evgeny Malkin. Was it always Evgeny Malkin? Because in 10 years, no one will care. I'm like, oh yeah, Malkin. Yeah, that makes sense. He should be on that list. No.
Because what they could do, they could just take out like Cummy Burton or something. And then
anybody.
In like 30 years or whatever, or 50 years, when someone asks like, oh, what happened there? It's like, oh, well, for a joke, they put in a joke name for a bit. Cummy Burton.
Yeah.
And because they knew everyone would be like, oh, well, that's obviously meant to be Evgeny Malkin because nobody's ever been called Cummy Burton.
The event of the decade was the 2014 outdoor game, Leafs Wings. It was 106,000 fans.
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah.
That's decent. Nope. Yep. I agree. I do agree with that. I think that's a good call.
It's a weird one so you've got game of the decade, event of the decade, and moment of the decade. Like, what's your event of the decade going to be? The fucking 2013 draft in New Jersey. Like, you know what I mean? That's basically outdoor game of the decade.
I was surprised that they didn't have the 2011 Cup final because it led to a legitimate riot. I mean, cars were flipped over and on fire, and at no point was somebody like, "Wow, that's kind of wacky and interesting. Not seen that before." No, all right.
I mean, that was definitely a big moment. I think it probably is worth honouring in such a... You can't ignore the decade. Ignore that for a decade list, can you?
Riot of the decade.
Riot of the decade. Post-game show of the decade.
Bruins Leafs was game of the decade. The famous Game 7. The first of 3 Game 7s, actually. What do you think about that?
Now Marchand with it. Hands it off. Bergeron is on. Rebound chance in front. Sagan is there. Puck comes free. Score! From Dries Bergeron, who tied the game and won it in overtime.
I mean, I've not seen that game, so I can't speak. I just think it's interesting that that's probably the most famous game of the decade, so I don't know whether that's right or not. You know what I mean? Like, on one hand,
tough to argue.
You should pick the most famous game of the decade, but at the same time, was it really the best played game of hockey of the last 10 years? I don't know about that.
I know. I would have, as good as a memory that was for me, obviously, because I did watch it, and it was, an unbelievable thing to score 2 goals in the last minute with a goalie pulled, and then to win it in OT was unbelievable. But I think somebody, might have been Down Goes Brown, made a great point that like Sharks Knights from last season was way crazier to get like a 5-minute major being 3-0 up and then to be down 4-3. Then to bring it back with 6 forwards on the ice and then you lose in OT. I mean, that was insane.
So the two things with that game that I'd question is if it was just a regular season game, if it was game 45, would anyone care? And if it was game 45, the exact same game, exact same events, but it's between the fucking Wild and the Canes, nobody gives a shit, do they?
Yeah, it's a fair point.
And yeah, obviously there's like an element of the stage and all that, and the what's at stake. But game of the decade should just be a good and interesting game itself, like the hockey, rather than being polluted by the sort of storyline around it.
See, I'm not sure. Personally, I would have picked Game 7 Canucks Hawks in 2011, which is the famous Alex Borozzi slayed the dragon.
Gets the puck, sends it across for Campoli. It went over his stick, but Ryan Johnson clears the zone. Hamhuis intercepts, dumps the puck back in. Campoli has it, flips it. Burrow steals, cutting in, shoots, scores! They've slayed the dragon!
Because that was a good series as well. Because the Canucks raced out to 3-0, and it was just, that was it. It was all over. Hawks are dead. Defending cup champs. And then I think they won like 7-2, 5-0 and something else. And it looked like, oh shit, like the Canucks are getting reverse sweeped here. And the Hawks are actually back in it and they're gunning again. I mean, that was a fantastic game. So, I mean, I could have gone for that one, but I mean, yeah, I don't know.
It's a hard one.
It is weird how
we play 1,200 NHL hockey games every year. How can you pick? How can you pick them?
I just don't know how Bruins Leafs translate outside of Bruins Leafs fans.
Yeah, that's
I mean, if you'd have said if you give like I don't know, not a Flames fan because that's another Canadian team. Let me think. If you'd give a Kings fan like a list of games, not involving them obviously, but would they have picked Bruins Leafs as the most memorable? I mean, maybe, I don't know, but yeah, I mean, I'm kind of, it's tough for me to know because I'm kind of in that Bruins bubble kind of thing. So I see it all the time anyway. So I don't know how it kind of matches.
No, this is it.
And then did you see the goal of the decade?
Yeah, I did, and again, like it wasn't I mean, it was a good goal, but was it that good a goal itself?
Here's what, yeah, okay. It's Patrick Kane's. It's Patrick. Yeah, we need to explain what it is. It's Patrick Kane's goal against the Flyers, Game 6, his OT winner. I'll let you go first, and I'll explain why I completely agree with this 1,000,000%.
So I think it's moment of the decade more than goal of the decade, isn't it? Yeah, it's a good goal, him going short side, coming in off the left wing. But what makes that goal special is that nobody knew it went in, and like it's just a silent arena and Patrick Kane shouting and celebrating. He knows he's just won the cup, and he's the only one who knows it for 3, 4, 5, however long that period of seconds is. So like, it's not the goal of the decade. It's like in a similar thing to what you were saying about if they were brave, they'd have put Fleury's save against the Leafs as save of the decade. They should have put fucking, was it Blake Coleman's goal from this year? That one-handed, he's on the floor, goes top shelf.
Oh yeah, I was thinking about all the Crosby goals. Like he bats it to himself in midair. Do you remember that Duchesne, the Duchesne from the fucking the face-off dot in midair?
Yeah, exactly.
Like that was insane.
And like, yeah, as a moment, incredible moment, and it's worth being honoured. But as a goal, yeah, it's a good goal, but it's nothing special.
But I agree with what you said, though. This is why I think it is. I think it's because of it's what comes after it. It's like we've said before, I picked this goal as one of my... We did a little countdown, didn't we? Like, our 5 favourite goals by teams that are not our team. And I had this as my number 1. And for that reason, is that for, I don't know, however long it's there for, the only person in the world who knows it's a goal is Patrick Kane. And the only person in the world who knows he's just won the Stanley Cup for that amount of time is Patrick Kane. No one else in the world knows what's going on. And that's incredible to think in a game like that.
Yeah, but then that's not the goal of the decade. That's moment of the decade. Everything.
No, I see what you say. I do see what you're saying.
Yeah, it's that the emphasis is not on the goal at all. And like it doesn't matter. Like none of this fucking matters. Whatever. Who cares what the NHL thinks is the best goal of the decade? Like.
In the end, we're all going to die anyway.
You know what I mean? Like it doesn't take away from any of the other good goals scored. None of it matters at all.
Okay.
But yeah, they've not even selected the best goal of the decade based on the quality of the goal.
It's true.
Which is very typical NHL, and I approve them being so on brand.
I guess the problem is everything's been done, hasn't it? Like volley goals, one-handed goals, backhanded goals, through the legs, like that Carlson, the fucking Carlson goal. And then we went through a spate of like a month where 17 players did through the legs goals for some reason. And everything's been done. I mean, that's the only one I can think of that's kind of unique. But again, it's not the goal that's unique, it's what happens after it. So, yeah.
You know what's a better goal than that? Do you remember that goal that Seth Griffiths scored like 4 years ago? Where he was like going backwards. And he just tucks it between his own leg while moving backwards. That was a better goal.
Oh, yeah. How about Pecorine? Like 3 weeks ago.
Exactly.
There's the goal of the decade.
Like, again, so I'm watching Vegas, Montreal from last Saturday, and it's on that fucking ad loop where every single ad break there is, it plays Save of the Week or Hot Saves or whatever, best
That's
goals,
right.
etc., etc. Every single goal they're playing on this goal highlight reel is better than that Patrick Kane goal.
That should have been it then. Goal of the decade, all of them. I should have just it.
Just anything. They're all good. Hockey's fucking hard, mate. All the goals are good.
That's a fair point. So the NHL team of the decade. You read off what you think it's going to be, and I'll just say, obviously yes or no.
My starting five, who I think it's going to be.
What you think the NHL are going to pick? What you think the big wigs in the suits and all the people who voted are going to choose as the team of the decade?
Okay. Where do you want me to start from?
Start wherever you want, mate.
Is Ovechkin on the left?
Yeah.
Sidney Crosby down the middle.
Yeah.
Patrick Kane on the right.
Okay. Yeah.
Left D we got Duncan Keith. Right D we got Eric Carlson.
Okay.
Henrik Lundqvist between the pipes.
Interesting. All right. I got two different.
Okay, so I struggled with Keith. I wanted to pick someone that wasn't Keith, but then I thought it's going to be Duncan Keith.
Yeah, he's in the NHL 100 for fuck's sake. Of course they're picking Duncan.
Of course they're picking him. And to be fair, yeah, for the majority of the decade. The problem with a whole decade team is there are going to be very, very, very few players that are at the heights of their powers for the entirety of a decade.
Yes.
So yeah, Duncan Keith.
Who are you thinking? Other than? Did you have any other options other than Keith?
Nah, not really. Nah,
Okay.
I thought about just good D-men, I don't know, Victor Hedman, Chara maybe. But yeah, no, Keith is the only one that I think really fits it, because he was incredible for the first 7 years of it.
Oh God, yeah, ridiculously good. Okay, yeah. So yeah, Ovi, Crosby, Kane, Keith. I agree. I think they're taking Doughty instead of Carlson.
Oh, no, that's criminal, mate. How can you do that?
That's not. Hey, I'm not saying that's what I would do. I'm saying that's what I think they will do.
Mate, if they don't have Eric Carlson on this list, they're fucking nutters.
Okay, I will say as well, they are doing a second All-Star team, aren't they? They're doing a first and a second team. I think they put Carlson in the second team. Do you know? There's two very simple, basic reasons I have chose different players to you. Why do you think I'm going to pick Drew Doughty and I think they're going to do that over Eric Carlson?
Because the AHL already is.
Yeah, there's two really good reasons, and they're both Stanley Cup rings. Because it's as simple as that. That's all they care about.
Yeah, it's true. It is true.
Because if they don't pick Drew Doughty, the narrative's going to be, how are you picking a guy who's got one conference finals appearance over a guy who's won two cups? What? Oh, sorry, two conference finals appearances over a guy who's won two cups. That's what the narrative would be. And the NHL are like, well, yeah, we'll have to pick Doughty then.
Yeah, fair play, mate. That's why.
And do you know what I think?
We're naming Kyle Clifford to the All-Star team.
That's right, Chris Kunitz. But yeah, I mean that's what I think they'll do.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
My second, and honest to God as well, I typed in Lundqvist because I was like, well, yeah, it's the tank. It has to be Lundqvist. I think they're taking Price.
Yeah.
And do you know why I think they're taking Price? Because I don't think they dare have an all-decade team and not have a Canadian market player on it.
Oh.
I think it's a political choice.
That's interesting. That's very interesting.
Spicy take, right? Spicy take.
Yeah, I can get behind that. And to be fair,
because I think there's enough. I think there's enough body of work in there from Price that you could make the argument. Yeah, and I think that's enough to swing it to say
picking fucking Craig Anderson or Freddie Anderson or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I believe it. I believe it. There we go. So
I think the list's released. This is where we're recording this Thursday night, so we'll know the list tomorrow. So I'm interested to see what they do.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see the 10 players, because I think the first one that first forward line is pretty locked in. But what they're going to do with the second one?
Yeah, that's more interesting actually. The more interesting one is the second team. Who'd you put in that second team?
I wonder if they're going to put McDavid on there.
Would I hate that? I don't know.
I don't think they should.
Taves?
Oh, mate, probably.
Yeah, because how can you have Kane and Keith and then not Taves? At least one of them.
So two of those spots are going to be Taves and Seabrook then. Or Taves and Crawford.
Oh, God, yeah. The other goalie would be Lundqvist. Oh, yeah, Crawford. Oh, yeah. Maybe, of course, yeah, Crawford.
I don't know. Maybe Chara, probably. Yeah, I just don't know because there's so many good players. But then to look at a 10-year span is very hard.
All right, then. The real business. What's your team of the decade?
So, my team of the decade.
Bearing in mind as well, this is just personal preference.
Unsurprisingly, Dan, I've taken this a little bit tongue in cheek. And
fuck's sake,
I've gone for my most impactful players of the decade.
Okay.
Because, to be honest, if I was just doing a strictly who do I think have been the best players of the decade, yeah, that team I mentioned before, I don't think you can really. They've all been very good. I wouldn't. That'd probably be what I'd pick if I had to pick the team.
All right.
But that's not what matters. What matters is the most influence you have on the game while you're here on God's green earth to play on his ice. So at left wing, I've got Brad Marchand.
Okay.
Because you can't have who has impacted the game for better or for worse more in the last decade than Brad Marchand.
That's a great point.
Who's been talked about more than Brad Marchand over this last decade? I don't think anyone has. At centre, I've got Joe Thornton.
Nice. That's a nice choice.
You can't threaten to get your dick out if you score 4 goals and not end up on my all-decade team. That's just how it goes, Dan. I don't make the rules, I just enforce them.
Of course.
On the right wing, playing a little bit out of position, but he has played there before, is Matt Duchene, for the influence he's had on many a franchise this decade.
That's such a good choice.
And unfortunately, I've had to go 2 righties at D. But again, it just I couldn't leave either of these players off. So first, I've got PK Subban, who, in all seriousness,
good choice,
for influence, okay, it's fucking PK. You've got Adam there. To his right is going to be Adam Larson for his involvement in Trade of the Decade, Meme of the Decade.
Oh God,
Revenge porn of the decade.
Oh, fantastic.
And in between the pipes, Dan, I've got Scott Foster.
Nice. That's such a good team.
Thank you very much.
Such a good team.
Thank you very much. That's my team of the decade right there.
Oh, I love that so much. I just went for players I've enjoyed watching play more than anything else.
That's good. That's a much more appropriate use of this exercise.
No, that's a great team. I love that. All right, so I've gone for Ov.
Yeah,
I love Ov. He's brilliant. I love everything about him. Just his character. He needs to be on the team, if nothing else, if this team was together and he won a second cup, God knows what would happen. I think he'd try and shoot himself into space or something while being drunk. I don't know.
I thought he was going to shoot himself in the face, but I was like, I'll still kind of
shoot himself into space.
Yeah, I could see
into space.
Why not?
I mean, to be fair, I know in Ov he'd probably do it and then still come back the next season better.
I'll shoot myself in the
face.
face.
He's got one eye. Centre, I mean, who else am I going to pick? I'm picking God. I'm picking Patrice Bergeron.
Oh, I thought it was going to be another Crosby joke.
No. The best. He's the best two-way player ever. That's it. He's phenomenal. A phenom. Playing 3 cups.
Bergeron's got to be the centre on their second All-Star team, isn't he?
You would hope so. But he's played in 3 cups, whereas Taves has won 3 cups. So
who's the better player then? Brent Seabrook.
Exactly. Yeah.
Lining up at centre for your NHL All-Decade team, Brent Seabrook.
Right wing, because I can play him anywhere I want, because it's my team, so shut up, is Sidney Crosby. How could I... Do you know what? I swear I was so tempted to just pick 5 forwards. Honestly.
Mate, I almost went for a power play formation.
Did you? I should have gone with a Vegas extra man formation and just put 6 forwards in.
6 forwards out, who cares? There's nothing in the rule about not starting a game like that.
Yeah, exactly. Do whatever I want. I've not got a goalie. And then I've got Zdeno Chara in D.
Yeah.
Again, fucking unbelievable. 42 years old. Still doing a good job. Still good.
You can't mess around with
Not
Big
great,
Z.
but still great. Big Z. A terrifying man by all accounts. And then, because I didn't have in my other team, Erik Karlsson. Just fucking unbelievable at points.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Just ridiculous. And then, do you know what? I really wanted to pick Tuukka Rask as my goalie.
I know you did. Of course you did. I was surprised you didn't have Daniel Player in there.
Tuukka Rask is elite. He's elite. We're not going to get onto this, but he's elite. But the goalie I enjoyed watching the most was Jonathan Quick for the Kings 2 playoff runs.
Yeah.
Because he was just crazy, and he shouldn't have been as good as he was. But I just kept thinking, how was he doing these? His body was contorting in weird ways, and he was making saves he shouldn't have made. And so I enjoyed watching him the most as a goalie in this decade at his high points.
Quick gets a lot of stick for how he's rated, and people overrating him and stuff like that. But but when he's performing a Jonathan Quick save, it's a wonder to behold.
Early 2010s, those cut runs, he was ridiculous. He was ridiculous.
Yeah, really good goalie.
There we go. Alrighty, last thing. Let's get out of here. Man versus 8-year-old.
Let's do it. How far behind now am I?
Hey, Will, you schmuck. You're going to get roasted by an 8-year-old, you fool.
Pulled back another point, dude. You pulled back another point.
Love it.
Only 9 down. The paddles have been put away, and the ambulance has turned its lights off.
I'm getting there. I'm starting to breathe. There's a murmur in my chest.
Starting to breathe. All right, let's do these games. Sens Devils.
Oh Jesus, Sens.
I know that's a rotter. Sorry,
That's horrible.
Preds Leafs.
Leafs.
Sharks Ducks.
I've still got to go. Sharks.
Canadians Capitals.
Capitals.
And Flames Blues.
Ooh. Flames. Give me the Flames.
Flames. All right, there we go. Cheers, listening, everybody. Will, any last words?
No, I'm just looking forward to all the plaudits next week when I've correctly predicted the decade of the team of the decade. Decade of the team.
Decade of the team.
Fucking hell.
All right, let's get out of here. Take care, folks. We'll talk to you later.
Peace.